Hello everyone, welcome to the Papillion La Vista South Varsity Volleyball stream against the Marian Crusaders, brought to you by PLV Media. Be an interesting competition between these two, given that both of them are some of the best in the state.
I would agree. And for those of you who don't know, I am Bruce Foster, joined by my play-by-play commentator,
Mike Williams.
So Mike, what do you expect to see tonight?
Well, I expect to see a really good, really competitive game. Both of these teams are incredibly well played, well rehearsed. I know that South just went down to Las Vegas for a tournament with, was it Elkhorn?
I believe so. There was only one loss that they took.
Yeah.
They lost to Yanni High, which is the #1 team in the state of Hawaii. Pretty tough competition to lose for.
Yeah, very tough competition. Hopefully this game will be really exciting. It will be neck and neck. We got the lineup now of the Papillion La Vista South and the Marian Crusaders. Yeah. This will be some game. I'm expecting to see some really strong plays by some really strong players on both sides. I know I'm seeing a lot of really interesting players like Cambria Bales. I know he was a strong player last season.
Bales is incredibly strong. So was Jetson, but he is our national anthem.
Score prediction? Well, I definitely predict that this will be a close game. I bet both teams will be at each other's throats.
I imagine it probably goes to 5 sets.
Yeah, without a doubt, definitely going to get into the 4 or 5 sets. I can't really say with either one. I've been looking at, from my previous knowledge on South, they got some really great attacks and really great kills. As of Marian, I'm not sure what they have, but I'm sure they'll have some surprises, and they definitely will have some strategy that they'll try to use to take South down.
Marian has got a very strong team, having a lot of players finishing within the top 10 and even 20 in their positions. For example, currently we have Ada Yonke, who currently leads Class A in assists.
We're going to have to keep an eye out for Yonke then while we're out there down.
She doesn't lead. She is second.
She is second. Well, it's still going to be a really interesting game between the two of them.
Yes, Yonke. Oh, here we go. We have the Titan Hype video.
Yes, this Titan Hype video currently playing. It's going to be a really interesting game. For you, what about you, V? Who do you think will have the win for the for this game tonight?
For me, I think it's about stopping the high-power attackers. Whoever can stop the most powerful hitter on either side is going to win the game. Lyric Judson is not an easy force to stop. Having this year, she's currently 7th in the state for kills.
That is really impressive. think if I'm remembering last year, Liv Judson definitely was just going at it, being hyper-aggressive towards any team that she'd go by.
Yes, she's 12th in Class A for kills and first for hitting percentage, third in the entire state.
That is an incredibly impressive score. I do really strongly believe for either side, you got huge power players on Marian, you got incredibly powerful players also on South. It's just a matter of which of the two titans, pardon my pun, who will be on top.
Yes, exactly. Marian has an incredibly strong team. We're only going to see a continued success from both of these squads the entire year. This could be a preview to what we could be seeing in the state championship game. Titans are incredibly strong in all facets, and Marian is a scrappy team. Currently, they are, I believe, 13-3. I will double check that, but
that seems like a really good ratio for them to have. Yeah, if this is going to be what it looks like going ahead into the state champions, I think that's really high hopes for either team, whichever one winds up going.
Absolutely. You can see a lot of strong performances here from South and also Marian. The entire year has just been a battle of who can hit the most. Marian has a bit of a diverse hitting core, having several players hitting over 100 on kills. Titans currently has 3. I believe Marian also has 3. Yes. McLeay, O'Connell, and Kramer all are hitting, have over 100 kills on the year.
That is an incredibly high percentage. I think definitely going to be a really good year for Marian. It'll be a really good year for South as well. I think this game, if you ask me about strategy overall, I think it's going to be a matter of wear down, of who can wear down who first, because both teams are incredibly powerful, and it's going to be a matter of which team can wear down the other one the quickest.
I 100% agree with you. This is also just going to be a strong defensive battle, as on one side you have Titans libero Tammy Deerstead, one of the best in the entirety of the state of Nebraska. Currently, she sits at 2nd in Class A for digs and 7th overall in the state. Deerstead is committed to play at Rutgers University. Big Ten volleyball is not a joke. And Deerstead, I believe, she has the capability to be a superstar at that level. We're just going to see if she can defend this high-powered Marian attack today.
Yeah, I have no doubt Deerstead will do really impressive going out there into the game. I do think it will be a matter of can Marian wear down Deerstead and all of South's defense, and it'll also be a matter of can South keep up with the attacks towards them. Now up first to serve is number 5, Ella Iman. Iman's up to serve. Serve clean over the net. Well received by Marian. It's a point to Marian. It looks like it was
over the net, I believe.
Over the net, yes.
And that is an early error to have in a game that is going to be pretty much whoever gets the last point's going to win.
Yes. Now coming up is number 12 for South. Kenna Sanders, really impressive take back of the ball. That is another point towards Marian. Is that another? What was that? That would be another over the net, I believe.
That was a double hit.
A double hit. Serving for Marian. That looks like is that number 6? That was Campbell Capice with another point towards Crusaders. That was a over the net.
Sanders had a bit too strong of a hit there. She's a powerful hitter. That one just sailed a little too far.
Yes, you got to make sure when you're doing these games that you're able to strike and soar high, but don't go too high. That was a point towards Papillion La Vista South.
Made up for the mistake she just made. And you like to see that from McKenna Sanders, who's just now subbing out.
Yes.
And number 8 is going to be serving.
Dana Valench. See what kind of surveillance will be approached. Is it going to overshoot or undershoot? Hopefully gets it just right. That was a well-received serve. And that was a point to South.
That was a strong hit by the Marian Crusaders. However, it just sailed out of bounds.
See Valence's next serve. See what Marian's strategy is going ahead. Another smart receive by them, sending it over back to South. Ooh, that would be a point South.
And that is the superstar right there, Lyric Judson with our first kill of the night.
Yeah, see, interesting plays. Judson is definitely one of the more aggressive players, if I'm remembering correctly.
Absolutely agree. Over the middle was a great setup play by the Titans.
See this play, what does Marian do in defense? Managed to send it back over to South. Set. Back once again. That was out. And that was a point to Marian.
Moon just sails it a little too far there. Again, pretty much every single hitter on this South team is incredibly powerful with what they do.
Let's see if they can keep the power at a stable level to be able to keep all of their hits and kills within bounds. Sending it back over to Marian. Marian played it really well. There's another point towards Marian.
And that could have been a point Titans, but they called it a block touch. So either way, it was going to be a point as Deerstead couldn't receive it. It was a fast ball going towards her at a weird angle.
Yeah. It's going to be some really hard plays because they're both really strong teams. That was a point towards South. Hitting it square in. That was Moon, my bad.
Ella Iman is the setter for the Titans, and she is going to be looking specifically at the three-headed monster of Judson, Moon, and Graves.
So we can see Marian attack it over, South managing to stop it. They attack again. That was a point, Marian.
And that was a great play by the Crusaders, just finding the open spot on the field. That's a hard hit to make. Back corner, across body to the other side of the court. Strong point there by the Crusaders.
It was a very strong point. They're showing their power here. What just served was Kayla Brown. Now seeing that was an impressive dive right there by Marian Zambaro. That was a point to South. It's a very strong kill.
And for the Crusaders, you have a lot of strong defenders, but the thing is, it's hard to defend with such speed coming at you from the Titans.
Yeah. Titans, I think, are trying to go at an approach of being incredibly powerful. If they're able to wear down the defenses of Marian, then they'll definitely be able to take it over in later sets. Here, this is see that defense right there? That was a point towards, I believe that was South? Or no, that was the Crusaders. That was a touched ball by South that went out.
And I want to credit Maddox Graves real quick because that was a strong block here on the closest side to us. Currently is 18th in the Class A for blocks.
That was a point to South.
This has been a very back and forth game. Like we said it was going to be so far.
Yes, they're definitely starting to scratch at each other's throats.
Absolutely. Titans' hits are just falling. They've had a lot of ability to make two Marian defenders dive for the same ball. And it's just had an open space on the field.
Yes, I think that South going for a play of power, I think it has its risks, but it's clearly showing to start to pay off because that was another point, and they're now back up 7-7.
I believe that was a double touch by the Titans. Excuse me, that was a double touch by Marian to give the Titans a point.
Now we'll see number 4, Moon, up serve. Really good serve. It's now heading back over to Marian after they just defended it. We're seeing some really great defense by Marian and also South, like that save that just happened by, was that number 8, if I'm right, Valent?
I believe the one in the gray was the one that hit it, which is Tammy Deerstead.
That was my fault, but
she is their libero. Again, the heart and soul of the defense.
Seeing again, really good serves on both sides. South coming in with power, and I think that Marian's definitely coming in with precision. We're seeing their two strategies begin to unfold. That was another point to Marian.
Now it looked like that could have been pancaked by South, but it seems like it was just barely hitting on the floor.
Yes, that was a really close one.
Great feint by the Crusaders.
Yes. That was a point towards South. The ball went too far. Again, it's a matter of power. It's a matter of being able to send the ball over to the other team while not sending it so far that it gets out.
100% agree with you. And the thing with this game, it's going to be completely momentum-based. Deerstead.
So that was an excellent kill by, which number was that? Did you see?
That was Judson again.
Judson coming out with some really strong kills, being able to send those power plays that the Marian defense is not able to quickly respond to.
And she is only a junior, Mike.
Yeah, that is really, is really something. We can't wait to see her on her senior year. Seeing that Marian, he's managed to be saved by number 10, Solomon. That was a point to Marian. Again, just seeing how strong Marian's defense is against the South's plays.
Yeah, 100%. The South has some really smart drawn-up plays, but Marian really faked them out there with the feint. It caught the blockers completely off guard.
Really beginning to show what their strategies are going into this. That was South again with, was that number 7?
That was Judson once again.
That was Judson. Judson's just coming out here playing moves that are so fast that the Marians don't have enough time to react. We're really seeing the strategies of power versus defense over here.
100% agree with you. Judson leads the Titans in most categories, kills being the biggest one.
Yes. That was number 5, Iman. That was a point towards South. It was a really strong serve. I wonder if this could be, you've seen it happen sometimes before with South, where they're able to just send serve after serve different, getting various aces from just one server. I wonder if Iman could do that now. Iman sending it back over. Good to see Marian's defenses come up. See it get set back over. It was an interesting fake out by Marian. Sent back over the net. As of this point, that was a great block by number 11, Bales. Bales, I think, has had a really strong history of being able to block balls. See, that was a point to Marian. It was a very strong, intense moment. You saw various strategies being used by either side, with the offense being able to block and the defense of Marian, again, just showing how strong it is. Now up to serve is number 9, Elena Kem. That was a ball out, scored by Capise.
Capisa is the leading defender for the Crusaders.
Yeah, really good to see some great defense strategy by them. Now we're seeing, once again, their defense sending it over, right over the blocks that were attempted by South. So it's sent over again. That's number 7, Yonke. Really interesting to see how they're both starting to use a defensive trying to go up the net. And there we see it from South. Successfully blocking the ball from going over. That's a point to South.
Really great defense from the middle and outside blockers there. Judson gets it back over, but we can't ignore the block there from Kenna Sanders. Sorry, excuse me, Campbell Bales.
Yeah, you really just can't. They're being really aggressive. I know Bales has been doing real impressive these things. And now up to serve is Valinch. Or, yes, that was Valinch. Ooh, that was a really strong block by South. That was a point to South. We're getting to see kind of a shift in strategy. They're kind of going less for power now, more for trying to just stop their stopping the Crusaders' defenses from getting over the net.
And yeah, they're really trying to build up an iron wall. You have strong defenders up front like Judson and Graves, so I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, it seems like a really smart move on South. Now see, ooh, that was not over the net, and that was a point to South again.
That is a hit error, and you really don't want to see that if you're Marian, especially in a game like this where it's pretty much trading points back and forth.
Yes. Now to serve, that was number 8, Danny Valinch. Ooh. That was a point towards Marian. That was the attempted save by Dierstead.
Dierstead just could not get to it, and credit to her because that would have been an incredibly hard ball to get to, regardless. But Dierstead this year has a total of 242 digs.
That was a point towards South once again. That was, which number is that? That was number 5. Minucci was unable to successfully set that ball once it went over the net. Now up to serve is number 7, Judson. Judson sending the ball over to Marian. Marian using their defenses again. Clean over the net, back over to South. Ooh, that was an interesting move by South. They're now... That was a well-done kill by the Crusaders. Or no, it was not. It was not. That was... What was this? Dude, that's a point. That is a point towards the Crusaders' net violation.
Yeah, one of the Titans got on the net. I believe it was number 10, Tessa Solomon. But you love to see long rallies like that.
Yes, that's a sign that you have two really well-off teams fighting each other, and they're really evenly matched, as you can see with the sheer amount of them going back and forward with really long hauls like that. We're seeing it sent over the net by Marian. That's attacked by number 11. You see it's coming back over towards Marian. Ooh, that was a point towards South. The ball did not get over the net.
Sometimes you just need to try to get it over as hard as you can, especially when you're in a really weird position and both hits have already been made. Broderson just could not get the power over it, and credit to her because it was an incredibly strange position to be in.
Yes, it was. It's really showing how South's... Ooh, that was a nice wall, but it didn't work. That was a point towards Marian. It's really interesting to see how South's move of playing power is beginning to kind of wear down the machine, so that once they get later into the game, they're able to just steamroll through.
That's a strong middle blocker, Aaron Kramer there on the outside, breaking through the Titan wall in the middle.
Yes. That would be a point towards Marian. Yeah, it's really interesting to see South strategy now becoming use power and then make a very strong iron-tight wall up at the net to stop the defenses of Marian from getting over. See, now that was a out ball, and that was a point to South. One of the Marian players touched the tip of their hand, touched the ball, and it went out.
Larson on the kill there was a strong decision to attack from the outside. They've got strong positions here on both sides of the ball, but they've really been trying to hit that outside. Middle has not been a focus for the team so far, it seems.
There's no. Ooh, that was almost a really strong kill by number 2 for the Crusaders, McClay. Now seeing it sent back over by number 14 on South. That was Graves. Ooh, that was a ball that was right on the spot. That was a point towards the Crusaders.
That's twice now we've seen the Marian Crusaders have a sniper in the back of the court, finding a way to just make it land.
Yes, they've been really able to kind of put up a shallow defense and then have one of their team just shoot up and send a fast ball right over top of South's defenses when they get up close. And right there, that was a really strong kill by South, too. That was number 10, Tess Solomon, with that kill.
Now, Tess Solomon isn't typically used as a hitter because she is their second setter outside of Iman.
So now we see libero Gierstad went to serve, and that was a point towards, was that the Crusaders?
Yes, there was a service error from Gierstad. You don't see that very often from her. She's only got 9 service errors in a total of 145 attempts.
It's a very impressive statistic for Gierstad. All right, now we're seeing a serve over Marian, which was effectively received by South and sent back over for another point for South. Currently 19 Titans to 18 Crusaders.
That was Judson again. She has been the unstoppable force from the Titans, breaking through at least a double defense by the Crusaders.
Now up to serve, that looks like number 5, Ella Iman for Papillion La Vista South. I'll clean over. Roll received, we're seeing that Marian defense. Sent over, now roll received by number 4, Finley Moon. And that ball was out, and that's a point towards the Crusaders. I think that right there was a great show of just their strategies coming together against each other.
Absolutely. I mean, the defense, we said it was going to have to be strong in this game, and boy, has it. Titans have just had so many powerful plays.
Yes, they definitely have. We're now seeing, that was a really strong wall block by the Crusaders. That was Aaron Kramer. That was a point for Crusaders. This really has just been a neck-and-neck game. They have really been at each other's throats and not letting either one get too far ahead. Now up to serve is, I believe that is Capese, if I'm remembering right. And then that was a point to South. Really effective kill right there.
Kenna Sanders, again, she's got a lot of strength behind her windup. It's a very interesting technique for her windup, but man, is it effective.
Yes, it's really effective. And now up to serve is number 8, Danny Valinch. We're sending it over. See Marian sending it straight back into South. Really quick play, that was a ability to send it back over by South. Point Marian.
Another great block there by Kramer. And the Titans are going to take a timeout.
There's a timeout by South. So currently, with the way that this game has been going down, I think it's just been a great show showing how just the power that both of these teams have.
Absolutely, and if I'm Coach Tarman, I'm saying we need to calm down. We've had strong defense the entire game. We just can't let silly mistakes like a miscue on defense let them get another point, because this is a strong team. You don't want to let up another point to them.
Yes, no, you do not, because any major steps-ups are going to be really hard to claim back. And I do think, I absolutely agree with you. I think that a strategy of power can be effective, but if it isn't controlled, then all that's going to happen is you're going to keep getting it out, as you see now with the way Papillion La Vista South has been serving, and it's been going over the line.
And we saw that early for the Titans. There was a lot of glass cannon-type hits, full of power, but it was too often blowing up in their faces, making a error or another point for the Crusaders, which you just can't let up in a game that's going to continue to be so close.
Yes, and now up to serve for Marian Crusaders is number 5. That is Sadia Minucci. Good to see served by Minucci. Serve went well over the net, and now we're seeing South's defense is a failed wall by Marian, which was a point towards the Titans by number 4, Finley Moon.
And how I have been seeing this game is we didn't see it on that play, but we've seen a lot of free balls given to the other side, which is just a let-up ball that they set over because they need to get, they can't have more than 3 hits. You see, the definition of a good team is who can control those.
Yes, it definitely is. We just saw right there the Crusaders just got a point. They've been having really clean defense this entire game, and I do think that is part of that strategy, trying to maintain control over who has power on the court.
That was a really close call for the line judge.
Yes, it was.
That was really close to the line.
Yes, that was. Now see Marian serve. That was number 4, Kayla Brown. Ooh, that was a really strong attempted kill by South. And that was a point to South by number 4, Finley Moon, because that kill was not well received on Marian's end. And it's, again, just that power play they're able to use that power move to overwhelm the defenses of the Crusaders.
Finley Moon had a really strong hit there, and then we see a Crusader timeout here. But that was a really strong hit, and the way she hit it was putting enough spin on the ball, and that's partially what Iman wants. Iman is trying to put spin on the ball, so it's so much harder to receive if you are a defender. That specific one had a great amount of spin on it, and added that spin from Finley Moon in the opposite direction. It made it fly over into the stands.
Yeah. It was honestly really close for those people who were sitting over there with that hit. But yeah, those power moves with that unpredictable spin of the ball makes it really hard for them to receive it. And we're seeing that not just from South, but also occasionally from the Crusaders, where they'll occasionally have one of their members will go up and snipe over the ball.
Yes, exactly. And you really need to see more of Taylor McLay, one of their best hitters on the entirety of the team. She's incredibly efficient and strong for the Crusaders. Currently in Class A, she has 145 kills, placing her 8th in Class A.
That was a successful ace serve by number 10, Tess Solomon.
First one we've seen tonight. Aces are an incredibly strong tone changer. You know,
yes.
You see if you get an ace when the other team just had like a run of, let's say, 5, it suddenly puts some momentum in your
that wasn't an effective hands. It's a point towards Titans. Currently 24 South, 22 Marian. But yeah, with an ace serve like that, you really do get just that feeling of long term, and this might be one of those times when South with Solomon, was that Kivria Bales?
That is Tess Solomon, excuse me.
Tess Solomon, yes. With Solomon, is it going to be one of those cases where we have that one server who just keeps sending it again and again and again? Ooh, that was an attempted snipe, which was effective for the Crusaders by, I think it was number 2, McClay.
And that was another net violation by the Titans. That's at least 3 in the game so far. You can't get too close to the net because it's just going to continue to give you penalties. And keep in mind, Titans need to win by 2. This is set point for the Titans. If they can get a point off of this, they will win set 1.
Yeah, so the set point up to serve now, that is number 11 from Marian, number 11, Kramer. And now we're really seeing that defense from Marian. Oh, that was a a double hit. So that was a point towards the Crusaders from South. So now South does need to get that 2 up in order to win this current set.
Yes, and Graves had a strong block, but it just went over. So she didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah, so that's going to be really hard for them because those strong wall blocks can lead to net violations, as we've seen. That ball was an attack with a failed wall block again by Marian, point South. And now they just need to once again get 1 up at set point for South.
What a great hit by Finley Moon again. But I want to quickly call out the choice by the setter for the Crusaders, number 7, Ada Yonke. She chose a setter dump. We've not seen a lot of those tonight. It almost ended up in a point for the Crusaders.
Yes, it's really interesting to see as the game goes on, the strategies evolve. Another wall block, which was a point towards Crusaders once again. You really see it. It's just neck and neck between the Crusaders and the Titans.
25 all now. That is just, what a powerful hit by the Crusaders. Just breaking through the defense of the Titans. Great play.
Yes, and now we're seeing, that was a great save from the Crusaders, but I believe that was number 4, Brown. We're seeing once again one of those powerful attacks. This time it was better received by Marian. now we're, that was a score for South by, was that number 11 Cambria Bale? Oh, sorry, number 12, McKenna Sanders.
And Kenna Sanders has been the go-to hitter outside of Liz Judson when she's not on the floor. It's incredibly paramount that you have those hitters that you can continue to go to. And with Titans, they have Moon, Judson, and Sanders to consistently get points.
That was a failed pancake by Gierstad, which led to another point for Crusaders. Again, it is just neck and neck. These two are currently 26-26, and now up to serve for the Crusaders is number 2, Taylor McClay. Clay sent it clean over to South. South again attempting, that was number 7, Judson. Judson really tried to hit that power move, but Marian is starting to learn how to stop it, and that was a point towards the Crusaders.
Set point Marian now. Suddenly the momentum has shifted, and the Crusaders have the momentum. If they can get one more point, they will come out of set 1 the victor. And, yep, a timeout here.
That was South's timeout. Yep, from what I saw, we're seeing now serve as Bertison. But I'm really starting to see also a new strategy start to come up from Papillion La Vista South. Because they're starting to have it where once they set the ball, instead of having someone come over and go for the kill, you're beginning to see, I believe it was Graves, is just coming over and hitting the power move instead to throw them off course.
Absolutely, and you're seeing the middles being involved a lot more. I mentioned earlier that they hadn't been going to the middle, and the run of points where they did not get a score was not involving their middle. I think the middle of the court is an incredibly tough place to hit for, but at the same time is the most vulnerable place on the floor. The amount of times where you will have two defenders next to each other, have a ball land in the middle of them, it is just a unstoppable move because neither of them can get it as both of them are going for it at the same time.
Yes, now up to serve, we see McClay for Marian. Another clean serve over, and again we see that power move from South of trying to have, that was number 12, Sanders, and that was a point towards South. That was a point Crusaders.
That is a net violation, and the Crusaders come out of set 1 with the win.
This is really just an insane game, especially for South. They really need to figure out what to do when it comes to defending the ball and preventing those net violations.
Yes, net violations have definitely been the story of this game. We've seen several go against South, and it has caused for a lot of points to get taken up that should have been theirs, but end up going to Marian because they couldn't stay out of the net.
Yes, I think when it comes to just various strategies starting to shift, we're really seeing now with Marian that defense, they're starting to crack South's code.
Absolutely, and with the Titans, they have a lot of power, and you see that's what they're really trying to go for. Between Sanders, Graves, and Judson, it is a trifecta of just intense amounts of power and strength from on the hit to either one, break through their blocks, or two, just make it unreceivable. It's hitting the ground at least a good 40 miles per hour.
Yes, and I am starting to feel, however, that Marian is beginning to catch on to this and is beginning to expect it when they have those fake outs and is beginning to predict, such as how when they come up to block the net with their hands, they're starting to do it now to reduce that energy coming from South.
Yes, with the blocks, they're setting up. Typically the way you want to block is you want to put your hands over them, and what they say is that they make a roof. You want to make a roof to block it, But we're seeing a different strategy here from Marian. They're going straight up and down to try and take back some of the force that Judson and Sanders and Moon are putting into them because they know that they can't get to the balls in time.
Yes, that's definitely helping them when it comes to being able to get their defense to get the ball back over towards South. But also, this could be happening in the future at the risk of South going at it even harder to attempt to get them to knock it out of bounds in order to give them the point. So we'll see how that strategy evolves. I could see that being a really strong strategy by South to get more points against Marian.
It's been a tale of two liberos, though. Both Deerstead and Capacey have played out of their minds today, getting a bunch of strong digs that seem to just be out of their reach, but are making it even and either getting them the point or getting the ball in a strong enough position to where their setter can make a play.
Yes. Now up is McLay for set 2. Or sorry, no, that was Minucci or Capese is up now for that. And then you see again that just that roof. It's been more of a wall to attempt to do it. And there you see that number 6 for the Crusaders, that Luke Judson, again, for the Crusaders, the Capese wasn't able to stop that ball just because of the sheer power going into it.
And Capese was further left. Judson had that ball going right. And it's a great strategy there by Judson to not attack the middle of the hand. She hit the top of the fingers. Typically a really strong strategy.
Yes. See it again, that defense for Marian. See it again, that was number 12 Sanders, again going in for that power play with another point for South. I think we're starting to see some of that strategy switching up, realizing they have to go to a new game in order to stop Marian from learning their tricks.
And absolutely, I 100% agree with you. The plays that they're drawing up are to maximize where they see a hole in the floor. Ken have found it pretty easily there.
Yes, so now we'll have to see if, that was a point towards the Crusaders. We'll have to see with that really strong offensive defense, that was a score for O'Connell. With that really strong offense and defense for Marian, those holes are starting to show up, and so now we're seeing that South is starting to try and take back that power.
You don't see Fallon O'Connor in the game as much due to the fact she is a freshman, but she still has been playing at an incredibly strong level.
Yeah, she definitely has, especially to be playing for the likes of Marian, and that was a ball out of bounds. That was a point towards South again. That was a point towards from Kenneth Sanders. Again, we're just seeing with these players these power moves, and this time it seems they might be trying to shift strategy a bit and go less towards trying to overpower and more trying to utilize that defense that Marian has to get them to get out of bound points. Dude, that was a tap over from number 11 Bales. It's kind of an interesting shift. That was right on the net. Didn't get over. That was a point towards South. You're getting to see now, interestingly, from Bales, that attempt of instead of going for that power move that would be expected of South, going for a bit more of a tap over.
Yeah, and the feints are an effective strategy. You can't use them consistently, though. You have to use them when the moment is right, or else it's going to become too predictable.
Yes, you definitely do have to. See it again, this stretch of South. Let's see what happens. Another power move, but that was out of bounds. Point towards Crusaders.
And what you're seeing a lot of is not just the outside, but we've been seeing a lot of back row attacks from either Moon or Sanders. And that back row is a much further place to hit from, so they're able to put more speed and power onto them.
Yes, but that is seeming to come at the risk of them going out, which can be a strong strategy if they can manage to thread the needle into that sweet spot. Now we're seeing ball over at Marian. Seeing that was a pretty strong attack from Marian. Let's see how South responds. Sending it over. Being able to receive it. Marian managed to score a point right there. I'm seeing them start to go for more powerful attacks.
And yes, Like I said earlier, it's capitalizing on the free ball. Deerstead had to just hit it over so they would not get four hits, and Marian capitalized on it. The free ball is a dangerous play if you're the opposing team.
Most definitely is. Now we're seeing, again, that was another power move, and this time that was a point towards South with, what is that, was a double hit?
That was a net violation from Marian this time.
Interesting. Up to serve is Lyric Judson. See what Judson's serving strategy will be. Sending it clean over. Marian responded with a light tap, which was well received by South, who's responded again with not as powerful of an attack. I think we're definitely seeing South strategy shift to a more lighter approach rather than just absolute power. And that was a point towards South, a well light tap straight into a hole in Marian's defense.
And that is a beautiful show of intelligence from Ella Iman, reading the court and finding where the open spot was, choosing the center up instead of trying to get it to one of our more powerful hitters. That worked beautifully.
Definitely did. And now we're seeing that was a fail to get the ball over the net by number 11 Kramer. And now it's 7-3. Titans are not letting Marian take this set.
Yes, Titans are fighting tooth and nail for every single hit, every single point, and every single hit they're getting. And it's been working incredibly well for them. They haven't let up many points. And it seems like they gave the Crusaders a point there.
It's definitely an interesting strategy for them, but I'm guessing that they have started to understand what Marian is going for, and as such, they are beginning to attempt to change their strategy to throw them off. And now up to serve, that looks like number 11 Kramer. Send it over. We're seeing South. The power play that was blocked, and that is a point towards South.
Now, that is a strong use of intelligence by Cam Bales. That is a strong tool of the block. Seeing the block and hitting it exactly where you need it to so it goes out of bounds, and that's still off of Marian. Great play there.
Yes, up next serve is number 10, Tess Solomon. Sending it clean over to Marian. Number 2, that was a really strong attack from number 2, which was Taylor McLean, that was a point Marian, right? Or
that was a point for the Titans due to a net violation. Ooh, that was great setup by the Crusaders to allow number 9 on the outside, Kem, to be able to hit that.
Again, we're seeing some really clean serves over to South. Now we're seeing Ribeiro set the ball, setting it over, not as powerful, hit the top of the net. Ball out, that was a point towards South. We are really seeing that South has woken up, and they are really now beginning to use their heads to win this game.
And it's using that intelligence of reading the floor and seeing, okay, where is this ball going to land? It seemed like the Titan defense in the backcourt were going to go for that, and that is an ace!
That was a really well done ace. It looked like an attempted pancake by Marian, which was not served well, and the ball simply hit off and just rolled onto the ground.
Tess Solomon with the serve there, and you can see that a lot with certain kinds of serves. To me, it looked like a float serve, to where it spins to a certain degree and then falls back and suddenly just stops. It's a really powerful serve, and it's hard to get a hang of if you are the defense, because once used properly, the float serve is a masterful weapon.
Yes, and we could see it right there, well in play with that ace serve. And now it looks like South and Marian are trying to figure out, when it comes to strategy, what to do going ahead. Will Marian be able to come up with a new strategy in order to take out South? Because South has clearly woken up, is using their heads, and are able to start to poke holes into the defense of Marian. Seems like that set 1, I think you would agree with me that set 1 was definitely South kind of just testing the waters and figuring out what they were about.
It was testing what works, what doesn't, against a team that is incredibly strong, one of the best in the state of Nebraska, not even just Class A, but in the state.
Yes, and now up to serve for South. Again, it is number 10, Tess Solomon. Solomon now sending it clean over to Marian, with South blocking it and sending it back over, and it was not received by Marian, which is a point Titans. It's now 11-4.
Seems like that ball did get back up in the air before it did fall and get them a point. But like you said, Finley Moon just really put a lot of torque on that ball, and it made it incredibly difficult to receive from the backcourt of the Crusaders.
Definitely the more powerful hit. The attempt to just nudge it over the net, coming down, and that is a point South as number 6, Capese, tried to save the ball, but was not able to, and the ball went out of bounds.
Strong intelligence from Solomon there to realize what was weak, and Jake Moore calls a second timeout of the set.
It's really interesting. Clearly, there's a whole lot of thought going on right now trying to figure out what's the next step. What are we going to be doing to ensure for both sides that they keep their advantage? South keeps their advantage, that Marian takes away South's advantage.
And Coach Moore is really trying to calm down his team, I would imagine.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, you have proven that you can fight with some of the best in the entire state. You've proven that you can win these games, and you proved earlier in the game that you can put up strong numbers against a team like South.
Yes, it's definitely going to show with Marian that they are really coming up, but they still have to be able to fight back against such juggernauts as South, who are clearly beginning to show just how much hard work has gone into them and how much of their thought has gone into making the ball spin the right way, how to find holes in defense.
Absolutely, and all the mark of a great volleyball player is the intelligence, reading the court and seeing what you can do, finding whoever you view as the weakest defender and attacking them.
Yes, we're definitely seeing that with Solomon tonight, as Solomon has been successfully sending over several hits. We're now seeing another powerful play, which was managed to be stopped by number 2. That was Taylor McClay. And that was a double hit. That was a point towards South.
Strong hit from South to leave the Crusaders defense discombobulated. They couldn't really figure out what was needed, and it seems like there's a substitution here. Yep, substitution. And Solomon is she's on a bit of a hot streak right now with the serves. So that's why she's just been staying in. She hasn't had a point that's gone to the Crusaders. Titans are on a run right now.
Titans definitely are on a run, and that was a ball out of bounds. That was another point Titans. Titans just are not having it anymore. They are saying that we are here.
Tess Solomon is really putting on a clinic from the service line, making Marian pay for having weaker defense. She's attacking who she feels that is going to give her the best opportunity to get an ace or to get that score.
Yeah. And now it's definitely looking like Marian with substitutions is definitely trying to get it right there. You see that point, Marian. They're definitely attempting now to take their weaker members out, so that way Solomon is no longer able to just target those weaker links inside of their defense, building a stronger one in order to get more points. They definitely have a long way to catch up now. That was another point towards Marian.
Bit of a misread set by, I believe that was Solomon up on the front there.
Yeah. Yes, and now up to serve, that was number 7, Yankee, I believe. Yes, or Yankee. Yeah, we're seeing now that Marian defense up in full force, sending it over. But now I think South definitely is getting the swing of what their attempts are. As you see right there, that was a point South, 15-6 now.
And, you know, that could have sailed out. was a strong hit by Graves. It 100% could have dropped, and you can see the panic in the eyes of Kayla Brown. She thought that was going down, so that's why she reached out for it. But it looked to me that it might have went out.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a matter of getting all such things as the. It is really just a matter of being able to get such things as just threading where the out of bounds and where the players are really proper, and it seems like they were really able to get it down currently. Now we're going to see up to serve. I believe that is number 4 for Papillion La Vista, which is Finley Moon. We'll see, can Moon follow in Sanders' footsteps? Or I'm sorry, Solomon's footsteps. That was my fault. Really interesting. That was a really great wall block by Papillion La Vista South.
And Sucevic really tried to tap that over and use the small space that was behind their blockers, but just was not able to capitalize.
Yeah. We're now seeing Marian's defense in full swing, and now South is most definitely understanding where cracks are. Once again, going for that attempt of popping out and getting in number 14, Maddox Graves, Kenna Sanders, my bad, getting in the power players to hit it, which possibly could have gone out.
Sanders has had quite a night so far. She's been incredibly efficient. She's had a few errors here and there, but overall has been incredibly strong. Has been a pain in the side of the Crusaders defense for sure.
Definitely has. Now seeing with that Crusaders defense, sending it over with power this time, can really tell that they are beginning to try and heat up their power strikes to see if they can now attempt to outrun. There was a good wall block, which is now being received by South. Sent back over to Marian. Really seeing now their defenses. That was an attempt which went out of bounds by Marian. That was a solid 3 people attempting to get that ball back in play so that they could send it over the net.
And with a positioning like that, it's really difficult to get that ball to go back into the field of play. So good effort and hustle from the Crusader defense.
Yes, that was a really great hustle from them. You can really see now their defense is attempting to play into the power that they have there to try and overwhelm South. Will it work? Will it not? We'll see. It seems like they're just getting warmed up. We're now seeing South. That was a out of bounds point Crusaders. That was a really powerful ball, too powerful. We can see that they are really beginning to heat up and push against South's power, which is causing South again to heat up. And it's a question of can South remain and contain their composure enough to be able to deflect against Marian, who's now beginning to show their power a bit more. Really strong serve over back to South. South hitting it over with the failed attempt by Marian to save it. Point South. It's now 19-7.
And Kenneth Sanders again continues to find the weak spot. Continues to find the weak spots on the Crusader defense, and from that out of bounds point by Moore. Oh, powerful!
That was a really powerful hit. Back over. We'll see what happens here. More strong hits. That was out of bounds. Point South.
Lyric Judson with another kill today. But I was saying again on the Finley Moon out of bounds, it was another back row attack. Titans have been really utilizing the strength from the back row.
That was an excellent save by Marian's libero. That was a Capese. And now seeing running straight over an attempt to save that ball again is Capese, and that was a point for Lyric Judson. It's just some really interesting attempts by Marian. It seems now they are scurrying to attempt to maintain some level of composure and maintain an ability to gain points against South, who are just now beginning to steamroll them over. But that was, again, a point to South. We'll have to see. I don't want to assume anything, but I'm guessing in the third game, Marian is going to get their act together and is going to try to come back.
Dave State has a hot hand right now.
Most definitely. That was a point to South.
Illegal formation. Ooh. Seems like.
Interesting. Again, we're really seeing just the team formation with Marian is beginning to start to weaken down. Could it be South's power, or could it just be that South has begun to use more effective strategies against their defenses? See Marian send the ball back over, which is blocked. Again, a point. This is match set point for Papillion La Vista South now.
Maddox once again having another strong block in the middle of the Titans defense.
Graves has definitely been just instead of being able to do it. That was a powerful hit by Marian, which is going over into the announcer stand, and that was a point towards the Crusaders. Being able to get it out clearly. Now they're trying to take some gameplay plans out of South's book.
Capisi really needs to get this for the Crusaders, excuse me.
Yes, Capisi definitely does have to. We're beginning to see, Marian is starting to resort to powerful plays to attempt to get it over, which might cause South to begin to break apart. We're seeing really strong, near the ceiling almost. So it's a powerful play. Point South. That is a set for the South, won by Kenna Sanders. Sanders has been a power player throughout this entire set.
She has been the difference maker for the Titans. Set 1, it was Judson. Set 2, I mean, even set 1, Sanders and Judson have been the big two. We're seeing a lot more use of Maddox Graves as a hitter in the middle. But overall, Titans offense was just almost unstoppable in that set. 8-25 was that final score of that set. What an intense set. An incredibly big bounce-back set for the Titans.
That was an insane bounce-back, especially just Tess Solomon. Can't credit enough. Solomon has been able to play effective move after effective move against the Crusaders, and just the ability to do that so much has led to South being able to take so many points, and also now we're getting to see they managed to get into Marian's head. Because Marian breaking apart, they were having illegal formations, they were letting the ball get out of bounds. To their credit, they weren't easily able, or they at least were able to effectively try to get the ball back with 3 players trying to get it back into play. But despite all that, I think Marian definitely needs to get together, get stronger, come up with a more effective game plan against South, because South now clearly is getting it in the bag and is understanding how to face their opponent properly.
And Coach Moore is 100% stressing defense. We're seeing cracks in the backcourt of for the Crusaders. Deerstead has continued to be incredible, digging up every single ball that comes her way pretty much. And we've just seen the balls going to the back of Marian's court fall and give points to the Titans. It's been a bit of a struggle to gain points if you're the Crusaders due to the strong court of the Titans defense between Judson, Graves, and the backcourt of Deerstead and Solomon.
Yeah, I definitely do think that with their defense, in the beginning, it was really effective, and South didn't understand what to do to stop it. And now we are seeing that South has figured out to go for the back of it and has been using people like Solomon and Deerstead to be able to counter that defense and go for that open, vulnerable back. And I wonder if Coach Moore, coming ahead into the future, is going to start taking some of Marian's players and is going to start putting them in the back more to try and stop South from taking that spot.
You got to wonder if they're going to try either more defenders in the backcourt, or if they might just try to do bigger looks on the front. Maybe do a 3 block instead of a 2, or making sure a block is occupied by 2 people instead of just 1. You cannot be giving up points that you really need if you're the Crusaders right now.
Yes, I definitely do think that having a stronger front could be as effective having a stronger back, especially because Marian has shown they're trying to go for power plays, and it has been, in a way, working for them well because South has had some moments where they weren't able to keep up with Marian's powerful balls.
I mean, yeah, Marian has had some incredible power plays here and there, but it's just been the momentum and keeping them up. If Marian can continue to keep up the powerful plays that they have, then we're going to see a comeback for the Crusaders. Coach Moore seems to be confused about the current formation in the front.
Yes, I wonder what his plan is. It seems like, and I am quite curious if he has gone for the more defenders in the back to prevent South from taking that. Now up to serve for South is number 5, Ella Iman.
And you're right, there is 4 defenders in the back right now.
Their strategy has most definitely changed. We're now seeing them heading up for the front, and that was a point towards the South. Again, it was just that wall block by South.
Judson on the block there. Judson got the block there. And between her and Graves, you've seen a lot of blocks. This season, Judson has not been a slouch in the blocking term. She's gotten 42 of the things.
Definitely not. Definitely see with those blocks just how effective they can be. But also for Marian, you saw right there, number 14, number 9, were both able to, that was Kem and Suchazik, both easily able to use that block back against South to score that point on the Titans.
Sometimes a double block is all you need, and Suchavic was able to help stop the powerful attacker that is McKenna Sanders.
Again, with that block attempt, although this time South was able to take it, send it back over atop the block into the back. We'll see what Marian's defense does now. And that was a point to Marian. They managed to get into that back vulnerable spot in South's defenses.
No, actually, we got a block touch.
Really?
It was out, but a Titan defender did hit the ball. I'm not sure if it was Judson barely touching it as it went out or if it was up on the line.
I feel like it could have been with that wall defense they went for. And now we're seeing send over. Oop, what was that? That is a point towards Marian again. That being, what would that be? That would be
net violation.
Net violation, yes, thank you.
Capisi has been on a bit of a roll.
Definitely. And there we see the net was not able to be crossed, and that is a point over towards the Titans.
And Capisi, give her credit where credit is due. As a server, sometimes you want serves to be lower to just barely go over the net and fall.
Yes, and especially for someone like South, who's been using those walls, getting those hands up, having a lower net ball could try and stop them doing it. But there again, we see that defense just got Titans back up to 3.
And that's just a mental error there from Kramer, who's been playing outstanding the entire night. You see those errors come from time to time.
It's now up to serve as Valinch. See what Marian's defense definitely moved towards the back, sending it back over to the Titans, sending it in with a powerful move. That was a point South. They found a vulnerability in the back, looks like the back left corner of the court.
Cam Bales finding the open spot and slamming that ball down, making it so no one could even get near it. Great play.
Was an incredible play. Now see Valance's serve. Going over, clean over to Marian, who's using their defense. Just a light tap over, which South, it looks like, was not fully predicting. Saw a great dive right there by number 6, Capisi. And there was a point towards Crusaders again. We're seeing them start to use a juking mechanism of hard attack and then soft attack to try and throw off South. Capese. I think I said the wrong thing.
Yes, and now we have Mancusi here in the serve.
Yes. Saw that wall attack again from South, but this time they were able to well receive it, send it back over to Marian, who's now managed to send it back atop of South's wall, going in for a hard attack, which, again, those hard attacks sometimes will be able to take those wall defenses, go straight down to the ground like we saw right there. And that was another point to the Titans.
Cam Bales again with that attack. Gets that ball through the defender's hands and waterfalls down the net.
That was up to serve is number 7, Judson. Here, sending it over at a decent strength, back over to South. We're Judson, oh my goodness, Judson going in for a hard kill, but the net was in her way and she was not able to send it over. That was a point towards the Crusaders.
And that's just a lower hit. She slammed it down faster than she would have wanted. If she had had it a little bit higher, then that would have been probably another kill.
Yes, it most definitely would have. We're seeing there again that powerful play, and Marian using their blocking to try and stop it with another point going towards the Crusaders. As they are starting to understand this South defense, they're cracking it once again.
That was a strong break of the defense there by the Crusaders. Pretty sure that was McClay on the side there.
Because now we're seeing Marian serve that was a bit low right atop the net. And now we're seeing that was a really effective kill over by South. That was Cam Bales. Bales just saw that opening, took that opportunity, just really slammed it right into there, and there was nothing Marian could do to stop it.
Bales has had a really strong start to this set. She's had some hits here and there, but not to the level of someone like a Judson.
It's definitely not. We're now seeing with Marian sending it over to South, who gone for a more lighter strategy, just tapping the ball back over the fence. And now we're seeing, they're going for a bit more of a lighter push to just barely get it over. That was a point, Marian.
Net violation.
Net violation again.
Oh, overreach. Excuse me.
Oh, overreach.
I can see that. Maddox Graves reached over before the ball was in the plane to try to get the point for the Titans.
Up now to serve is O'Connell for Marian. Now see it again. South is starting to change up their strategy, and it looks like it could be working. South is really now going in and using those lighter taps, just lightly sending the ball over because Marian's gotten used to them being hard hitters.
They're using feinter attacks.
Yes.
That way it sets up for them not being ready for the stronger ones.
It's right there again, point South.
The defense was not set up because they were expecting it to just be... they were expecting the Titans to set up another play. Sanders just completely slams it down and finds an opening.
Yes, it seems like with Sanders, able to use those really hard, fast plays and make Marian not know what to expect next when it comes to hard or soft plays. Like right there. So once again, who was it? That was Point Crusaders. But that was a really strong effective kill by number 13, Larson. We're just seeing it. They're going hard, soft to try and throw off Marian. And it looks like it has its benefits, it has its dangers. Because like right there, the net was not crossed. And right there, that was a point South with a roll by number 7, Yankee for Marian.
Yeah, Maddox was another strong kill. That one went all the way into the stands there.
It did.
Powerful hit that just sailed over into the stands. Great play, Maddox.
You see now, Marian defense found a weakness in South's defense. This game has now become neck and neck again.
Like you said, we're seeing this like the first set once again. Seems like Coach Moore, has found a way to keep his players motivated.
This definitely does seem like he has. And now McClay served the ball over to South, who went. Ooh, that was a really interesting strategy by Bales. Sanders. Sanders was winding up as if she was about to go in for a hard hit and then just lightly tap the ball over, really juke out the Marian play. Now up to serve, that is number 5, Ella Iman.
And yes, great strategy by Kenna Sanders, using a feint attack to completely trick the Crusaders defense.
Ooh, that was a interesting fake out by Marian. We're seeing now some shifting strategies. They're both trying to outpace each other. And now it looks like going into a long haul of set. Never mind, the Papillion La Vista South just effectively used a wall up against the Crusaders. That was from Cam Bales.
The iron defense of this Titans front middle. They have just been so effective the entire day with their blocks. And they've had those moments where it has had a broken play here and there, but overall it's just been so effective.
Yes, it has just been. This has been insanely effective. That ball just went flying up near service. That was a point south. They were not able to save it. The power plays are just getting higher and higher up towards the ceiling each time. We saw one earlier in, I believe it was the second or first set. We saw these power plays, sometimes when they are received by the defense, it just flies up in the air. That time it flew out of bounds.
Give a credit to Capisi here for going all the way to trying to receive that ball, because that was not an easy ball to get to, and she just sprinted down to try and save it, give the best play for her team, but it just was out of reach.
Yeah, Capisi just diving in there, just trying her hardest to save that ball. Almost ran into one of the trash cans down there. Those plays, power plays by South, it seems like their strategy now is don't let them know when it's coming. And even when it does come, make sure it is as hard as possible to stop Marian's defense.
What we're seeing by Marian is a really interesting choice with where they're deciding to hit. They're not going at the hands of South. They're hitting it above.
Yes.
That way, in their eyes, it's not going to block. But it's leading to pretty good receptions from Dierstedt and the rest of the backcourt.
Yes. And now we're seeing number 5 for South, Iman again, up to serve. And the ball over to Marian. Marian, not able to get that ball over. Point South, I believe it was a double hit or 4 contacts. But, yeah, got to make sure that ball gets over the net or to stop those things. But that's just it's just incredible to see the Marian strategy shifting over time as you see them heading more towards the back as well to try and stop all these harsh attacks from South.
And the Marian defense has really been trying to load up the back court. See, currently they have 4 people back there just to try and stop the strong serves.
Yes. And there was another strong serve, which was tapped over, and that was a point Marian. They're starting to, I think, adapt South's strategy of doing a light tap over to get high defenses and to prevent South from being able to receive the ball effectively.
And that was a great play there. She found the open spot on the floor and was able to just feint it and trick the defender, and it was unable to be received.
That was a point to South. The Marian, one of their members touched the ball as it went out.
Another tool of the block there by Judson. Incredibly, and the intelligence we've seen from Judson and Sanders specifically, it's just been unreal. We've seen Judson use the tool and the defender's hands just to give the points to the Titans when they really shouldn't be going to them.
Yes, saw it there. I believe that was a power serve, or not power serve, but a power attack over by Marian, which went too far over in the other direction. We're starting to see them have the problems that South had. Now up to serve is Minucci. Ooh, right there. That was a point South. Another really powerful kill by Judson. We're seeing just...
Sorry, continue.
We're seeing just these power plays by all these members of South where they know when to stop and they know when to just hit it as hard as possible down.
And to your credit there, that's 100% what's going on. That was a strategic set by Iman, I'm pretty sure that was.
Yeah.
To set it just above, just barely above. For Judson to put all of her power down and force into her gravity.
Yes. And just right there, you saw that opening. Now Marian is starting to see those openings in South's defenses and take advantage of them when they can. See, South sent it over with a powerful hit. Is now being returned with a lighter hit, which South touched and went out of bounds. Oh no, yes it is. South, there was a point to Marian. They were starting to use South's defenses against them to get the ball out of bounds.
That was Chernin right there on that kill. And that was another tool of the block we're seeing. Using the defender's hands to get yourself a point.
Yes. We're starting to see them adapt South's strategies. But right there, that was a point South. Another thing with South strategies is sometimes, no matter how hard you try, there will just be something that is unpredictable.
And Capisi right there had a really low hit, and something about her placement of her hands just made that ball spin out.
Yeah. Right there we saw what I'm guessing was supposed to be a light serve over into Marian, which did not successfully go over the net. Now up to serve is number 11, Aaron Craner. Craner sending the ball clean over. It was a great dive over by Marian. That was a strong attack, which was a point South again, taking advantage of that wall block to get the ball out of bounds and get an easy point.
Finley Moon broke through the light defense. If I were to guess there was a hole between the two arms of the defenders.
Yes. Now we're thinking, what was that? That was a point towards the Crusaders. That was an interesting serve that went right near the line, but not quite far enough to be a point South. And now let's see what their strategy is again, those light blows. Sending in those light blows, South defense doesn't know how to respond. And that was a point for Yankee. I think Yankee might be starting to take advantage of those light blows to get into South.
Absolutely. Yanka has been an incredibly strong setter the night, but we haven't really seen her serving ability.
Yes, no. And it looks like Yanka's serving ability is showing. And right there, that was number 2, Taylor McClay, just sending in a power play in order to make South just not know what to do. And right there, that wall block by South was touched. That was a point towards the Crusaders, and it's now tied once again.
Quick change in momentum now for the third set. Marian 100% now has the momentum, getting 3 straight points off this Titan defense.
Yes, I think it's definitely showing how Coach Moore's strategy right there is beginning to shift, is beginning to throw the South out for a loop, and now it is just a matter of who can out-evolve the other when it comes to their gameplay plan.
That was a bit of a long serve there from Yanka. Yeah. We'll see Deerstead here.
Deerstead sending a solid serve over to Marian. Ooh, with that light tap again, throwing off the wall. Another light tap came back over to a point to South by Sanders. It's really interesting to see Sanders going on and off with power or not power.
She definitely took back some of the power that she was going for in that one and just used it to hit the top of the defender's hands.
Now with another really just clean serve over, we're getting to see how South's strategy, that was a point South for, what was that, 4 touches. We're beginning to see now with South's strategy that now their goal is to try and take Marian's defenses, and when they're sending it back over, take advantage of it.
Coach Moore takes another timeout for the Crusaders. What do you think that Coach Tarman is saying in the Titans huddle right now?
Coach Tarman right now, I think, is beginning to discuss how they're doing a good job of being able to switch on and off their power, except now they're really going to have to get their game up for how to prepare for those power plays. How can they fall back to make sure that they hit those power plays while staying up front for when those soft plays come. We're really starting to see the playbook of Marian adapting over into the playbook of South, and now South has to figure out how to essentially defend against their own strategies, which I'm certain they won't have a problem with, and I'm certain that Tarman is definitely telling them about things they should be doing in order to prevent Marian's new offense from getting over into their defense.
I 100% think that the biggest weakness we've seen in the Titan defense tonight has been the feint serves. They've been able to defend against strong hits pretty well, but if they can defend against these feint serves, the Crusaders 100% could be coming back in this game.
Most certainly could. It already is really close. Just a 3-point lead by South. And let's see if there's any difference with there has been a slight shift, I think, in their strategy. Going back for that power play again with South. Now they are resorting to, that was a point South. We are seeing they're going back into using their strong power plays to try and wear down Marian.
Judson again in the middle has been their go-to outside of Sanders. Judson and Graves in the middle are just consistently strong hitters that Coach Tarman is going to continue to draw up plays for. And the setters know there's going to be very few errors with those two.
Definitely. We're now seeing, again, just that Marian defense going into the back, able to stop those powerful serves. And a bit now we're seeing, once again right there, I believe that was Bales. I believe that was, that was Sanders. Again, just coming out there now and just resorting to hard hit after hard hit after hard hit to attempt and make sure that their lead never gets within range to where they could possibly tie again, especially now that they're this close to a set.
Attacking the left side of the defender's hands, closer to the pinky, was a strong hit for Sanders.
Definitely. Now we're seeing, again, just these really long hits. Now they're beginning to resort through less up close towards the net and really just long, far out hits. Hits once again as that ball is really getting to fly in the air. But then a tap. A tap right over, going from these long hits into these subtle taps, into these power moves, that being a point towards South.
Graves drops that in there, and that's an incredibly strong play. She hits it from the other side of the court to hit directly near the line, the left line of the volleyball court on the Crusaders' side. Great play there by Maddox Graves.
Yes, that's just an incredible play as you see just the South strategy going from like a really powerful to really soft. And again, just these really long, high hits into those really strong power plays, which was well received by their little Capesi. Really able to just take that back. We saw right there, point South with finally a weak spot, which the Crusaders attempted to stop, but they were unable to get there in time to stop that powerful move by South.
Deerstead again on the serve. She's been hot recently. This is set point for South.
See that set point hit over again. Both teams taking really long, really strong, and there you go. It's a point to the Crusaders now.
Great way to read the defense there, see what's open. The left side bit too hard because they felt like they were going on the right side hitter.
That was another point towards Marian. That was it a net violation? Was it a form violation?
I believe it was a form violation.
Well, we'll see what happens. Now that it looks like South is getting ready, they really want to just get this set through.
Set point number 3.
Yes, it is. That was a really strong attempt to get a kill by Marian, which that was set point for South. That really strong attempt just shows Marian's shifting strategy as they continue through. That was a really strong set for South, although Marian is definitely now starting to catch back up to them.
100%, and it's just been incredibly difficult to have the balance of your strong attackers with strong defense. And South's defense has just completely worn out the offense of Marian. They put up a good 18 points that set. However, South was just able to capitalize on more holes, more leaks in the defense, and Marian was just struggling at points, at pretty long stretches to figure out what was going on. They did have that stretch where they got 3 straight caught up with South, tied it all at 17. But if I'm Coach Moore, I'm really stressing to have strong form. You need to keep the form to the level it should be. If you have poor form, it's going to lead to those balls going all awry to either side of the court.
And this definitely need to make sure everyone has good form. Everyone is able to, in whatever position they're in, get to every part of the court and be able to stop those holes. Because we've seen a lot of times where they have come close to being able to stop a ball from getting into their side, and yet they are not fast enough, which sometimes it is because South is hitting really hard, but sometimes it is just that lack of form causes South to be able to do something as simple as just lightly tap it over when they're predicting a hard hit.
100%, and I agree that the speed for the Titans is just incredible. As soon as something is blocked or sent back over, they're immediately responding. Marian has had some problems responding to the quick motions that South has put upon them. Like if they have a block, South is immediately responding. Marian is struggling to get back onto defense and have the ability to set up the play that they're going for.
It'll definitely be interesting coming up into this next set, because this would be a game set for South, so long as they're able to keep it up. But we have to see here, it looks like Coach Moore is definitely giving a really strong speech to his players, definitely trying to make sure that they understand where to go, what to do, because they cannot let South get this victory.
Yeah, we're going into set 4 now, and Coach Moore is really just trying to rally the troops of Marian to keep them in this game. You don't want morale to be overly low, because if you believe you've already lost, then you're already out of it. You can't win a game that you already felt like you lost.
Yes, he needs to make sure that he gets South out of their heads and make sure that they remain composed, remain in order, because we've already seen they have easily been able to keep up so long as they believe that they're able to do it really effectively. We're seeing it looks like a swap in for Marian. And now it looks like up to serve is number 6, Campbell Capisi. We'll definitely see what shifted in their strategy. We're now seeing much more defense up at the front for Marian. That was a really effective block by Marian. That was a point to them.
Great opening play for the Crusaders, blocking the lighter attack from the Titans, and just ended up with a pretty strong block.
Most definitely. We're now seeing South, let's get going in for that mix-up. That looks like that was another point, Marian.
Another net violation.
Another net violation from South. I think we're really starting to see that they seem to have gained composure and are starting to understand what to do to deal with South's new strategies.
Yeah.
See the reception from South. They attempted to juke it. It got blocked again, reducing that power. And they're sending it back over to South with another powerful move. South sending over lighter. That time they were unable to block that defense. But we're now seeing their defense is understanding how to effectively run from one play to another.
Maddox again is finding the open spot between two defenders in the middle of the hole, in the middle of the court, and getting that ball to go directly into the hole that she can see.
Yes, we're now seeing with South. Again, that was a really powerful hit, which that was another point to the Crusaders from an attempt to stop the ball, which I think possibly could have been going out of bounds anyways. I think we're starting to see they're beginning to use South's playbook against them.
And you're getting into you have a tendency to get into your head when you're up. You start laying back on things, and it's just not getting the points that you needed to.
Yes, that was a great score by Sanders. Really seeing a lot of points are being scored by Sanders tonight through powerful and light moves. We're really seeing how Sanders is showing how she is number one in this game, understands how to be powerful and light at the same time. But Marian is starting to catch up. That was another point South went out of bounds. They're beginning to understand that Marian's using those power plays to try and get South to get points for touching the ball.
And yes, they are using the defense of South against them. South was able to get that one back, though.
See, Marian, that was a very powerful move that South was unable to block. That was another point. The Crusaders, they really are just taking what they're seeing South doing and copying it and tweaking it ever so slightly so that South isn't able to respond.
You're finding defensive leaks that it allows for your point to successfully get into where it needs to be.
Most definitely. Now seeing South with another powerful move that was effectively blocked by Marian. Another light tap over, which they saved, sent it back over. That is a point to South. That was a double hit.
Net violation for the Crusaders. And the momentum here has just been swinging back and forth. Once one team makes a big play, they get a violation. Once one team gets a huge spike, the next one their defense can't hold up. It's going to be continuous back and forth the rest of the night.
It definitely looks like it. And now is another point, Marian. They've been finding these holes in South's defense that South hasn't been effectively able to cover up. We might see if this set is one. It's unable to know right now just because of how back and forward it is. In the future, South's plan could shift to be much like Marian, blocking in those spots they're taking advantage of. Up to serve now is Aaron Kramer for Marian. See the strategy again with a attempted hard hit that was blocked and almost went down to the ground. That was a point South. Number 11, again, Kramer was unable to successfully get that ball and send it over to someone else.
Moon was able to find the weaker stance of Kramer and take advantage of it. Kramer has been on fire the entire night, but she was just caught lacking there.
Yes, she definitely was. And now we're going to see, has South been able to find some form of weak spot? Because up now to serve is number 10 to Solomon. And I think Solomon could potentially see that as a weak link and try to take advantage of it. But Marian does not seem to want that to happen, sending in some powerful plays. Managing to lightly tap the ball over, which went out of bounds, which is a point to South.
A lot of people are going to try to hit that there, and that is a strong choice by the South defense to just let that go. If you had received that, maybe you could have set something up and made a more flashy play. But if a point is on the table, you can take it.
You definitely can, especially in a game as neck and neck as this. There you see again, they're taking those powerful plays. South libero, who was that? Be Drysted, I believe, just going down there attempting to save the ball. Another wall by South to stop them from sending the ball over. But right there, that light thing, the light attempt to get it right over the wall. And right there we saw again, go straight down onto the ground.
Using the distance between the net and the hands of the Marian defender to allow that ball to waterfoul between the net and the hands of the defender. Great play there by the Titan defense.
It was definitely now, again, sending it out. I wonder if they are potentially now trying to find, again, a weak link. But Marian's most definitely found weak links within South's defense. And now the score is 6-7 for the Crusaders and Titans. Now going to see up to serve number 7, Addie Yonke.
Yeah, that same spot for the Titans has been open for the past few plays now.
Interesting. It was an interesting combat, and once again we see just a really light tap over is able to easily overcome some of these defenses when there's weak spots like that.
Maddox finishes the play there. One of the Titan attackers missed their serve, and that's unfortunate, but they still ended up getting the point in the end.
Now we see Moon serve coming right over into Marian, who sent it over lightly, which South was able to receive, sending it over. Marian is definitely understanding how to fight back against South strategies, as the light and heavy hits are now easily being able to be blocked. And there we see a heavy hit by Marian, which is a point to South that was too hard. So now Marian needs to just make sure they get into that weak spot in South's defense near the edge, but not on the edge.
And we have another timeout from Coach Moore. Marian definitely thought they had a touch there, but there was no call for a block touch on that play, allowing the Titans to be up at the current moment 9-6.
Yes, we're definitely seeing it going up, and you can tell South most definitely wants that win against Marian, and Marian is making sure that they don't easily get it. I'd also like to take a moment just to talk some more about that Las Vegas tournament that Papillion South went to with Scott. So both of them finished 3-2 over the week during the Durango tournament in Las Vegas, and most of the players that were there from all over the nation were just really these were the best of the best, and for Marian to be going up against someone like South in such competition is really commendable. And I think that the way they're holding up against a team that, from what I believe you were saying, had lost to Hawaii.
They lost to a team in Hawaii, the best team in Hawaii from what I have read on Max Preps.
Yes, and so now we're seeing Marian once again trying to take what they see from the skills of South and take it up against to go up against such Titans as, well, the Titans. And there we see a ball out of bounds. That was a touch. Maddie Larson, I believe it was, yes, Maddie Larson.
Trying to reach for the ball where it was just out of the reach of the defender. And it causes for balls like that to go completely awry.
Definitely, we'll see. That was a serve by Finley Moon, number 4. Seeing now that there definitely is going to be shifts in South strategy to attempt to stop Marian's defense, easily getting over. But we can see South is starting to get a bit more frantic. Like right there, that was a point towards Marian.
That was a really interesting style of attack from Marian. They did like a hook over the defense, which is not something I've seen very often.
Definitely not, and I think it's definitely just a part of it, of being able to be unpredictable and make sure that they get into South's head, that they are coming up to take over for them. That was a serve by Taylor McClay. That being a point towards the Titans by Kenneth Sanders.
Sanders again being used as this powerful outside force for the Titans as we see Deerstead about to serve.
Deerstead definitely sending over a strong play. But you're now seeing that Marian's defenses are really catching up to South. But that time, that was a point towards the Crusaders as South was unable to get the ball over. But you could tell they were going for what was probably a weak spot within Marian's defenses. So
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Finley Moon just was not able to get the back row attack as high as she wanted it to be.
Definitely not. That was another point towards the Crusaders, as we're seeing they're beginning to go lower and lower down as they're playing in an attempt to throw off South, an attempt to throw off each other, as they're currently, I believe that is Capese, if I'm remembering right, basically is just sending it over through a lower to the net style, which most definitely does seem to help with creating new strategies. With right there, point South, they were able to find a weak spot in that back right corner.
A great return from a miscommunication on the front for the Titans. Now we're going to see Iman serving once again. She's a very efficient server overall, has been the entire year.
Iman serve, powerful, straight over into the defenses of Marian. We're now seeing a great wall attack, or wall defense by South, which they have managed to fly over. Currently in South's court, which that wall attack, once again, that was a point South for a double contact right there. But we're going to see some interesting plays to attempt to throw off each other's defenses. It's definitely become more a game of defense than a game of power.
And the game of volleyball is a lot like a game of chess, where you're just reacting to the way your opponent is attacking, they're defending, and finding the spot that you can best make work. While not every move is the most effective, you're going to get those smaller moves set up for the big moves, like those big hits and getting those large back row attacks.
Yes, I believe that was number 5, Minucci. Yes, Minucci is definitely an interesting server for Marian. We're now seeing that. No, that was a point towards the Crusaders by Kramer. I would like to talk for a moment about Minucci. It's really interesting with just Minucci being 5'2", being such an effective server, getting over the net straight over into South's defenses. With that right there being another point to South, finding those weaknesses in defenses. But I think Minucci just serves as an interesting wild card for South, or for Marian, just through just her sheer ability of serving it over despite certain differences when it comes to height compared to South's team.
Kenna Sanders is able to get that one dropped in the back corner out by the line judge.
An attempted kill by Marian was blocked by the net. Was a block by Cam Bales, and really have also seen quite a lot from Bales just throughout the entire night. And now up to serve is Gierstad, or sorry, no, Valinch. So once again, that strategy of going for hard-hitting attacks, something tells me that at some point, right there, getting straight around it by going at more of a diagonal angle. That's going in with those light. I believe that is not Larson, Sanders. I believe that would be that being a point towards Titan.
Hitting the antenna there for the Titans. Excuse me, for the Crusaders. And that is a mistake that happens on occasion. The antenna is one of the most well-known illegal plays in volleyball. You cannot hit the antenna.
Yes, that was a really powerful hit back over towards Marian, showing South. Man, that was a point towards South. South is now trying to use their power in order to beat Marian, because Marian's realized how their soft plays work, so now they're going back to using their hard plays to try and beat them.
It's crazy that Judson just has so much power, and she's not very small. She's quite tall, actually, standing at 6 foot exactly. And she's marked on our rosters here as a middle blocker. It's not often you see middle blockers with such speed and strength that Lewis Judson has. Middle blockers are strong typically and can make powerful hits, but Judson has the ability to just get all over the court, and it has easily been the strongest point of attack for the Titans.
Yes, it's definitely just crazy with some of those moves by South by Larson. I just think it's incredible how they're just switching it, going from taking it up to 10, taking it back down. And having that ability to do that on and off continuously, you're really able to kind of get under the skin of of Marian and the Crusaders, who now are beginning to come up with new plans, new strategies in order to beat out South in their what looks to be new plan.
Marian really just is trying to stop the power attack between Sanders, Judson, and even Moon we've seen now get more involved.
It's now up to serve. Looks like it's Village. See if there's any difference with that serve. It's still a very strong, powerful serve into Marian. With Marian serving powerful back, it appears it has now become, again, a power play. And right there, that was a point towards the Crusaders as South's power grew too high. And I think that might begin to become more a part of the strategy for both teams, is to try and outpower the other now.
Getting the points on the end of the line, between that line, is incredibly difficult. If you are an outside hitter, it's just really difficult to stay within those lines.
So right there was a serve by number 4, Caleb Brown. That was a point towards the Crusaders. I think that really is interesting with Brown's strategy right there of going for a much smaller arc up towards the front. And I wonder if Brown is starting to intentionally do this with these lighter serves to try and figure out how to use lighter moves. Going powerful lighter, because right there we saw a powerful move by Marian. With these lighter tabs, powerful moves from either side, trying to use what South was doing with powerful and light attacks to overwhelm, like right there. Right there you just saw South go for a light tap straight into a hole in the defenses of Marian.
And having that ability to just read the defense and find the holes that are available is an incredibly strong part of what makes a good volleyball team good.
Especially for Bales. I think Bales and plenty of other players have just been really great at reading and understanding how to get into those weak spots in South. With that being a point towards South from Judson. Judson, and just being able to hit that ball out of bounds, hitting with those powerful moves, and now up to serve. And that is number 7, Luke Judson. Judson able to hit it well across, and that was a high ball right over the net. Now we'll see how Marian responds to it. Marian going in with a bit of a lighter touch, which went out of bounds, point towards Marian.
Marian finding a spot there that was able to catch the defense way off guard. They were diving for something that was not necessarily there. Great play.
That was a serve by number 11, Aaron Kramer. That being a point, Titans really beginning to get a lead on Marian. That was Maddie Larson. And now up to serve is number 10, Tess Solomon. We'll see what Solomon's strategy is here now, going up against the new Marian defenses. Solomon hitting it square in with, that was a really effective above the net, tapping it down into Marian's court by Moon.
Strong use of defense there with a quick reaction by Moon. Like we said earlier, it's been difficult for Marian to react so quickly to where the ball is.
Again, we're seeing that tap over above the defenses. That is a point Crusaders. We're really beginning to see how it's just a matter of them both being able to, one on top of the other, out-predict each other. They're trying to juke each other in their strategies, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. But yes, it's just how the way it's played. Now up to play is Yanka. That being a point for the Crusaders.
Yanka with the ace there. Really big piece of momentum that this Crusaders team needs.
Ooh, that was a powerful attempt that was a really powerful move by South with that kill by Moon. You can just see it. They're on and off, being able to throw off Marian.
There's been at least 3 different times now where we've seen the ball waterfall between the hands of the defender and the net. Titans are really attacking that.
Right there again. Just having that wall up, not letting it waterfall, knowing when those powerful things, such as how Larson has been, being able to know when it's powerful to block it and send it back, but knowing when it's weak and to either let it go over or stop it from waterfalling. The light tap, which went out of bounds, so that's a point Crusaders, as there was an attempt to save it by South.
Yeah, it seems like it just went off the head of, I believe that was Moon back there trying to dive for it. But great effort there as we see McLay serve.
Yes. That was a really interesting attempt by the Titans to throw another power move into South defenses, but it was too far to the right, I believe that is, and it hit past the line and got a point towards Crusaders.
The left side of the court.
Yes. Again, with that method that we regularly see South do, where you have someone go in for a lighter hit and then somebody else coming over. That was a point towards Crusaders. Crusaders are really beginning to close in on South when it comes to points. We're seeing that strategy by South of going up lightly. They'll go up really lightly and then have someone else come in and just power hit it. It's usually, I believe, Sanders and Solomon usually, and also Moon, will just be the one who goes up there and hits it powerful. So that way when they're expecting a light hit, they're hitting heavy, which makes me wonder if if he's going to be telling them to be predicting that and expecting them to have light hit followed by a heavy hitter.
Tarman calls a timeout here because of the volley and rally by the Crusaders, putting up, I believe, 3 to 4 straight points without an answer from the Titans. You're 2 points away from sealing this game if you're Papillion South. So I'm imagining Coach Tarman is saying, listen, guys, we need to keep out of our heads and just focus. Don't let anything up.
Definitely. I can definitely see a world with that, as they are just 2 away and now up to serve. And that looks to be, I think that is McClay. Yes, McClay sending it clean over to South. We're seeing definitely a medium hit over from South, and that is a point to South as they attempt from Marian to save the ball by Graves.
Maddox has been blocking pretty much everything that we've seen on this right side here. It has just not been effective to try and attack on the side, and this is game point for the Titans.
Indeed it is. See now a really powerful serve over, and that is game, with Titans winning 25-19 by Bierstad. It's a wonderful ace serve, and that was a beautiful game.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the PLV Media broadcast. Your Papillion South Titans have won this game 3-1 over the Marian Crusaders. Until next next Friday, I'm V. Plachette, joined by
Michael Williams.
And we'll see you next time on PLV Media.
Have a good night.